the meeting come to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the village board meeting of June 24th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Stacy?
Here.
Terry?
Here.
Kraus?
Here.
Gardner?
Here.
Weisbach?
Here.
Giannotti?
Okay, in your packet you have the minutes for the last meeting of June 10th. Does anyone have any changes or additions? If not, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Stacy?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Weisbach?
Yes.
Does anyone from the audience wish to address the board? All right, village clerk's report. Or hang on, did you want to address them? No, okay. Just thought I'd check. Village clerk's report.
The 4th of July is coming up pretty quickly now, and I forgot to ask you guys, who wants to ride in the parade? Do we have vehicles? And do you want to throw candy? Because we have not purchased candy yet.
Hand out candy. Throw such a negative term.
Oh. Do you want to distribute candy during the parade?
With the kids.
We usually do.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Usually either 2:30 or 3, show up at the village hall to decorate the vehicle. I don't know if you guys,
We
use
do
golf
golf
carts the
cart?
last couple of years.
Yeah.
Can't use the golf cart.
We usually do that, and we usually get another, don't we usually get 2 golf carts?
Yes.
Couple of person golf course.
Yep. Yep, I will be in the parade.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Our
no,
all 6 comfortably.
I'll be in the parade.
Yours is 6, it's Beecher's birthday.
I must be the most important man in the world. Never know.
Will you be there, Todd?
Yes.
Hang on one
I know.
second.
I'm not that important.
I'll be there.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, will you be?
Oh, yeah, sure, sorry.
Yeah. Dave?
Why not?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, it's fine. Alrighty. Did the audience decide they had something to say after?
Just wondering if I could drive you in the parade.
I appreciate that sentiment, Byron.
I'm just trying to do my civic duty.
I appreciate that. All right, I have nothing under my report. Finance and Administration Committee, Trustee Kraus.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion approving the list of bills and payroll in the amount of $237,919.27.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion?
I just have one question. I know that the amount was changed. Is this the?
That's the correct amount.
This is the correct one, okay.
Okay, roll call.
Weisbach?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes. Then the annual treasurer's report has been prepared and enclosed for review. This will be published in the local paper as required by law and posted on our website. That's all I have.
Okay. Public Buildings and Properties, Parks and Recreation Committee, Trustee Kraus. Anything
Not
to
ready for
report?
No, just like 4th of July is coming up quick. There is a work day, Saturday, 6/29, up at the park if anyone's interested at 7 a.m. To start setting up. So if anyone has time that day to come up and help, we would appreciate it.
Okay. Planning, Building and Zoning Committee, Trustee Gardner.
Thank you. We have an update on post office parking lot at the corner of Penfield and Maxwell Streets. I believe you have that one here?
Yep, I'll take that one. So one of the reasons we're redoing our zoning ordinance is because all sorts of things are all over the place, and it is very difficult to find what applies to what situation because it's kind of a mess, which we're in the process of taking care of. But for our parking lot next to the post office, we have found that in another section of our zoning ordinance that was not related to fences, it shows that all open automobile parking areas containing more than 4 parking spaces shall be effectively screened on each side. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically the options are a wall fencing or plantings that will basically cut off the view of the parking lot. So we are in the process of getting some quotes for fencing. Kind of wanted to get some consensus from the board. We're waiting for other quotes for fencing, so I don't want to discuss the quote that we have already, because it's on camera and we're still waiting for some other quotes. But just wanted some direction. If everybody's interested in doing a fence, we could even do a motion of a not to exceed amount and, you know, allow the superintendent of public works to choose the lowest compliant bid. But, you know, we were looking at quotes for a decent PVC fence that's maintenance free. We don't have to worry about it in the future. It would be put on our property line, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it would basically be ours, and apparently, according to our own zoning ordinance, we are supposed to do that. Even it states for institutional, et cetera, which is different from what we've seen before. Did I leave anything else out? No? Okay. I know that resident had been getting some quotes for fencing on his own, because we had been under the impression that that was not the case. He was gonna put up a wood fence. Have to be honest, a wood fence in many cases only gets maintained on one side, and then, you know, it becomes a problem on the other side. So, if we were gonna vote on this, I would ask for a vote to allow the public works superintendent to choose the lowest compliant bid with a not to exceed of $7,000, and it will not come in even at that point. Or we could wait until the following meeting and wait until we get the quotes in. I'll leave that up to you guys, what your preference is.
Do you think 7,000 is gonna be enough for the PVC fencing?
Absolutely.
I'm fine with the not to exceed.
Okay.
How tall are we getting the quotes for?
Was this a
That's 8 foot.
8-footer? This is an 8-foot fence.
How far back will be set from the sidewalk?
Approximately 17-ish feet
Off the sidewalk?
off the sidewalk. Yeah, there'll be clear view on people exiting the parking lot as well as people from walking down the sidewalk from
Does
both
it take it
sides.
up towards the front, like about kind of what we
It's
were-
about even with the bushes in front of the neighbor's house, so it won't impede any visual further down the street, and it won't be coming up past the front of his property either.
And how far back does it go?
I was gonna take it back to the post office parking lot, so that whole side there that we're maintaining would be blocked from the Penfield view.
Because we maintain that grass now, right?
Correct, yeah.
Between the
Mhm.
parking lot and the post office.
Yeah, once we took over that lot, when it was grass, we started mowing all the way up to the post office and whatnot, so we're just continuing to maintain that.
So about, like, what are we looking, like 60-foot of fence or?
72 feet.
Can we do a 6-foot fence, or is there anything that stipulates why we have to go 8 feet?
We don't have to, we could go 6 feet. I mean, the idea of the screening is to make it so that they're not seeing headlights and things like that that are kind of infringing on their life. We would basically send it back out to bid if we wanted 6 feet.
I guess, can we just get bids and then see where it's at?
Sure.
And, well, I mean, because if they're doing one bid, they do both, right?
Yeah.
6 or, okay.
So is that the consensus of the board that you don't want an 8-foot fence? I mean, I think, we've heard one, but, you know,
I think a 6-foot would probably look better.
8 feet's pretty tall.
it is. That's what we mandate basically right now, if it's commercial. When the dentist built here on Route 1, they were made to put up an 8-foot fence between them and the neighbors on Elm Street. And I believe the funeral parlor, I mean, that's what we mandate for commercial, and if someone comes in and builds, that's what we do, just because of the fact that it's, you know, you don't want it to,
So does the parking lot,
but 8 feet is a high fence.
Does the parking lot deem it to be commercial?
It doesn't matter. It says parking area, and institutional is also included, I believe I saw that, yes. Office and industrial districts, institutional premises, etc.
Well, if we're making other places do an 8-foot fence, then we should probably follow suit, I mean, precedent's been set.
Just to clarify, so the requirement is we have to put a fence up, it's not required to
can
be
do a-
8 foot? Or it's required to put some kind of barrier up,
Right,
like
you
visual
can
barrier,
put up a
basically.
wall, which would be,
So between a wall and a fence,
huh?
like, what's there between a wall and a
Oh,
fence?
wall, kinda.
Like a concrete highway wall.
I'm assuming we're not gonna do that.
No.
We have somewhere on Gold Street they're getting stacked for later?
Yeah,
No.
let's not go there.
Let me look a little more, since we're gonna get other prices anyways, let me look a little bit more as to whether or not, because I don't know if an 8 foot is required in that specific area.
Okay,
I'll look at it more, and we'll get prices for both.
yeah, and then we can quote it out also for 6 feet as well, and then have more of a comparison.
Okay.
Alrighty?
Alright, the next planning and zoning commission meeting is scheduled for June 27th at 7 PM. A public hearing is scheduled right now for this meeting, and it is anticipated that a workshop will be held for a special use permit request. Update on the zoning ordinance revision. Tesca Associates has provided a completed draft of the revised zoning ordinance to the steering committee members. The steering committee is scheduled to meet to review the draft on Thursday, June 27th. That concludes my report.
Alrighty. Public Safety Committee, trustee Terry.
Thank you, Mayor. We've scheduled a committee meeting on Wednesday to discuss the commercial building sprinkler requirements. And we also have our adjudication system is up and running, and Chief informed me that today somebody finally paid their first ticket, so up and going.
We're cashing that check, I put it up on the wall anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in a frame.
Okay, I was saying, we're not framing that, we need that.
And that $50 would be about 25, what we get from 25 state issued tickets. Even though they charge a lot of money, we only get a couple dollars from each one.
So we're ahead.
All right.
And that concludes my report.
Alrighty. Public Works Committee, trustee Stacy.
Thank you, Mayor. We have the Penfield Street Improvement Project update. I would like to say that the street looks beautiful. Superintendent?
Yeah, so obviously the striping has been completed on Penfield as well as Gould Street in both the 500 and 600 blocks. So the project overall is approximately 95% complete. There are some small concrete areas that need to be either repaired or still completed. One of which we're waiting on AT&T to raise a manhole that's in the center of one of the sidewalks up there near their AT&T building. They were on site today, so I'm hoping that Terrazza will be able to get back in here and finish up the concrete work, and then it's just some small landscape work. So the project definitely turned out really well. Got a lot of compliments on the striping and things like that. So if there's anything that anybody sees that needs to be corrected, I'm obviously only one set of eyes, so if any of you see anything, let me know. The engineer and I will be doing a walkthrough, and I think the administrator mentioned that she would want to walk that with us. We'll be doing that in the next few weeks to make our final punch list. So that's all I have.
Okay, consider a resolution for the maintenance of village streets with motor fuel tax funds under the Illinois Highway Code appropriations. This resolution reflects what was approved in the Village of Beecher 24-25 budget and is required to be filed with IDOT. So I would make that motion.
For resolution 2024-04. That's your motion?
Yes, that's my
All right.
motion.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion? Roll call?
Stacy,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Weisbach.
Yes.
Okay, discussion on additional repairs needed at the acquisition ditch in the sewer plant in the amount of $26,746.80.
So the budget had, and I forget the cost on the initial repair down there. Once they got into the repair, they found more wrong. So they found what's called an axle that is pitted and worn underneath some of the bearings that are from the original plant expansion back in 1994. So some of the stuff at the plant was not upgraded or updated with the 2020 plant revision. So some of those things are starting to show themselves at this point. So that's what this extra is. As you can see there, the cost of $26,746.80. I did find the money in the current budget, so we will not need to find or look for anything out of the capital reserve or anything like that at this point. If anything else breaks down in the future, though, we're probably definitely going to have to look into those reserve funds. So just so we're all clear on that.
Okay. Discussion on the village's stormwater permit requirements and pollution prevention. Each year, the village board is required to be presented its stormwater action plan and discuss the village's progress in eliminating illicit stormwater discharges into Trim Creek. Because we have a formal drainage ditch, that discharge into the creek, we are liable for anything that may enter the creek, which is considered a sensitive habitat and recreational stream. The village is required to inspect each of these outfall structures each year and report to the IEPA any discharge which may be polluting the creek. Employees also attend training programs, and the village must promote clean water practices in the village's newsletter and on the website. The village board is required to be aware of these activities. Enclosed is the formal application. That's my report, ma'am.
Alrighty. Economic Development Community Relations Committee, Trustee Weisbon.
So the Will County Center for Economic Development annual eye-opener breakfast was held last week, and I have some information and statistics to run through really quick that was presented at that meeting. We'll save dessert for last, so we'll go with some of the not-so-good stuff first. Since 2019, our available housing inventory in Will County has declined by 42%, and housing prices have increased by 43%. Similar to the rest of the country. In 2019, the median home price was $227,000, whereas in 2023 it was $315,000. In 2019, the average interest rate was 3.9%. In 2023, it was 6.8%. In 2019, the average mortgage cost was $1,076 per month. In 2023, it was $2,056 per month. After 8 straight quarters of growth, our available industrial square footage began to drop in 2023 and is continuing in 2024. These declines match the time when the first interest rate increases began. There is good news. Will County population is 700,728. Gross regional product for Will County is $37.2 billion. Unemployment rate is 4.3%. Median household income is $97,076. There are 16,393 employers in Will County. The county ranks county ranks 16th in the U.S. for new and expanding companies, as the 5th largest GDP in the U.S. Over the last 5 years, Will County is number 1 in Illinois for job creation, adding 17,000 jobs, whereas the second closest was only 5,200 jobs added. Total wages were up 26% in 2023 to $15.3 billion. And over the last 5 years, Will County was number 1 in Illinois for single-family housing, adding 6,800 units. That's all the information I have from the eye-opener breakfast, and that concludes my report.
All right. And one of the things at the former eye-opener breakfast that they brought up, a lot of those jobs that were created are warehousing. I know, I believe there was a Wayfair being built last year, Tractor Supply had opened, there was Lion Electric, and a lot of the warehouse jobs were opening at like $21, $22 an hour, so they were decent entry-level wages. Was there anything else that you can think of?
No, I was real surprised at the cost of housing, between the years. It was quite a difference.
Yeah, even they put that later in the meeting. It was, look at all the good news first, and then they put the housing up there. It was like, what?
I hope everybody likes where they're at.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, any, so old business coming before the board. Village Hall parking lot paving. We ended up getting a quote, so I dug into a lot of research. We talked at the last meeting about how it was structured, that golf course and buddies were supposed to pay for the maintenance, village owned the driveway. I actually went and got a hold of our attorney and dug up the closing papers and the title papers and the deed. So we own the entire driveway back to about that fence, and we own about a third of the putting green. So the way that the initial thing was structured was in exchange for the other businesses' rights to go across our property in and out, that they're supposed to maintain it. Well, once you split it off, the golf course is separate, the buddies is separate, things get a little blurrier as to how you're going to assign all that, plus we are also kind of responsible for some traffic. So we talked about getting the $50,000 grant at the last meeting to cover our parking lot, and then we got a quote to go all the way back. Well, we ended up going to our property line instead and figured since we own the driveway up to a certain point, if we're to repave that as part of the project, we're estimating that this parking lot is probably original from when this building was built, maybe back in the 80s. If this gets redone at this point, it's gonna last more years than any of us are gonna be around. And the quote he got to do our property, which goes up to that fence, it would not go back to the golf course. Of course, that would be their responsibility. If they wanted to tack onto that project and it's only a few thousand more, I'll go talk to them about that. But we got a quote of $52,500, and that would cover this parking lot and all of the driveway that goes up to our property line. So if we get the grant for the $50,000, we would have to come up with $2,500. Anybody opposed to that?
Does that include behind the building also?
Yep, that's behind the building, yeah, that's the actual driveway up to, it goes a little past behind the building. The fence line, that long fence line, that's right about where our property line is, all the way across our parking lot and all the way out to Route 1. So our out-of-pocket would be about $2,500.
I think the last meeting, we were doing some questions to how long that whole process would be, and I looked, it's like 4 to 9 months from beginning to end to get the
Is the grant money?
grant, yeah, so.
Okay.
just trying to-
Do they have a limit on how long they'll hold that quote for?
Him and I, the lowest bidder on the job, and I talked, and we said August would probably be beneficial on our end, just to get past some of the busy stuff we got going on now. But August timeframe to do the potentially do the work is their timeframe. But they're usually really good to us with holding their prices for quite a while.
So our out-of-pocket, do we just need consensus on that basically? Because that's not even a $5,000 thing, right? If we're doing $2,500, just basically, is anyone opposed to that? No, I wouldn't think so. All right. So,
The grant we're good with, right? We
Pardon?
got it, the grant, we got it, it's good.
Well, we don't have it yet.
no, we're
waiting
in
for
the
that,
process,
yes.
we would not move on any of that. We would not do this project unless we get that
Unless
grant.
it's approved.
Yeah.
Do we have that timeline? Or do they have a timeline for that?
It's like from beginning to end, 4 to 9 months. I mean, I could apply for it, and it could take 4 months for them to say okay, but it could
Okay.
take less than that.
And we've got some of the paperwork in, it's just the,
Yeah.
But we're not moving on the project at all? until-
Exactly.
No.
Okay,
no, we're not gonna shell out
the whole 52?
the whole
Gotcha.
52.5 up front. No.
You know, give you like your worst case scenario, but like, I know it was discussed at the last meeting, I mean, they're very responsive, and she reaches out to me every 3 weeks or so, just to see if I need any help with anything. I told her we were trying to figure out which project we were gonna do, so I anticipate it won't take, maybe a couple of months, if even that, for the approval of those.
Alrighty, if we can have a motion to adjourn
Oh,
into
Mayor?
executive.
If I may,
Oh, yeah,
can we backtrack to Public Works, please?
oh, sure.
I got two things that weren't on the agenda, but I want to get them on camera.
Okay.
Brush pickup next week, the week of July 1st, is going to be postponed until the following week. There will be no brush pickup next week due to the festival starting on Wednesday, to allow our crews to concentrate on getting things set up for that. And the second thing is the splash pad will be closed Monday, July 1st, and with the consensus of all of you, will reopen on the following Wednesday of July 10th. That'll give the carnival time to get out of the park and things like that. Obviously, the splash pad's right in the middle of where the carnival sets up in our parking area and things like that. I think it's very important that they get completely cleared out of there and we get the parking barriers and stuff back in place that we removed before we get that open back up. So I'm looking at July 1st closing, July 10th reopening. Is anybody opposed to that? Okay, I just wanted to get those two things on camera so we could make sure that the people hear that. So thank you.
All right, can we have someone make a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of personnel? Okay, well, we have, let's say we have a motion by Roger and a second by Dave. Roll call.
Weisbach,
Yep.
Gardner,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Stacy.
Yes.
All right, we'll have a recess while we clear out.